Hey guys, and welcome to this quick tutorial where I'm going to discuss what I class as the pillars of online marketing. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Alex Fleck. I'm an online marketing specialist. My company, Zenith Online Marketing, helps clients around the world build successful websites, get traffic to those websites, and gear the sites and their online marketing for conversion. And I also help clients with a whole host of other things, creating marketing funnels, email marketing, online advertising, and so on. But what I want to discuss today are these five things, these five pillars that I class as the fundamentals of online marketing, the things that really you've got to have at least 3 to 4 in place, if not all five. And I'll discuss the reasons for each of those components and why they're essential or almost essential depending on what market and what type of business you're in as we work our way through this presentation. But effectively, these are the five essential components required to succeed online. Okay, we'll get started. So, the five pillars of online marketing in order. And number one, really, on this list is the only one that I class as absolutely essential. The others are very important and can help you with your online marketing. But if you don't have number one in place, then it's all going to fall flat. None of it's going to really work for your business. Okay, so number one on the list is an attractive, functional, engaging, and high converting website. And I'll discuss what I mean by that and how each of those components are created within your website as well in the next section. Number two on the list is traffic generation strategy A, which is search engine optimization. So taking your website and making sure it's visible and getting found online organically, as they call it. Organically just means free, so people will go into Google, Yahoo, Bing, and so on, and they'll search for a search term. And if your website pops up in really the first page or first 2 pages, then you're getting some benefit of search engine optimization. Traffic generation B, then, online advertising, comes number 3 in the list, the third pillar. So online advertising really relates to you paying for adverts and paying for clicks over to your website and the various pages within your website through platforms like Google, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, YouTube, and so on. So we'll discuss the different ways you can go about doing that and the benefits and the drawbacks of each in area number 3 of this tutorial. Number 4 on the list is email marketing. And email marketing is really a form of direct response marketing in many ways, whereby you create campaigns online that get sent out to your list or your database of contacts. And there are different mechanisms you have to have in place to create that list and build it and help it to grow moving forward. But the structure of it and the concept of it is that you build your list and then you send targeted campaigns to that list. Okay, so that's number 4. Number 5 then is really the last and potentially, depends on your business, but potentially the least important of the 5 to my mind, but very, very beneficial to many businesses out there. So don't overlook it. Have a look at it. Consider it. Consider the different platforms before you ignore it altogether. But social media is an excellent way to market your company online in many different ways. So we'll talk about each of these in turn, and we'll start it off with number 1 on the list, which is of course an effective website. Now, when we're building a website for a client, and when I'm designing the UX strategy and UI and the overall aesthetic of it and so on, I really like to break it down into these 5 components. And similarly with the 5 pillars, if you miss one of these components, your website won't work. And there's different reasons for that I'll discuss shortly. First, you have the design or the aesthetic of the website. So first impressions count. And it used to be that the overall look of a website wasn't quite as important as the rest of these elements, or at least it wasn't deemed to be. I always kind of held design and a nice aesthetic pretty high on my list of priorities. But it is important, there's no doubt about it. In this day and age, to have a good design or aesthetic to your website is super important. Each of these kind of go in order, by the way, so that's why I've done them 1 to 5. So you've got the design and aesthetic, that's the first impression. Then once people land into your website, it's the functionality that's important. And that's kind of made up of a couple of components. Could be your UX or user experience strategy, or your user interface, UI strategy. And user experience is really how you get the user to enjoy the content and go where you want them to go within your website. And be happy to do so. UI, user interface, is probably more to do with the functionality. So how are people going to find where they need to go, the mechanisms and structures that you have in place behind that, and the strategy to get people where you want them to go as quickly as possible. Could be to buy your product, to subscribe to your email marketing list, to contact you, whatever it might be. Number 3 on the list then, engagement. That really comes down to the content of your website and also the user experience, or UX, that I mentioned in number 2. So when somebody lands on your website, they get the first impression. The functionality then should kick in so they can find where they want to go very easily in 1 or 2 clicks maximum. And then the engagement happens. So you want your content, your images, your videos, your written content to engage them so that they want to stay on your website, they want to delve further into other pages and spread out into different areas of your website. And hopefully that they're so engaged by your content and the way you've laid out your website and your the different engagement factors, whether it be video and text or imagery, that they want to lead to number 4. So number 4 on the list is your conversion strategy. And when I talk about conversion strategy, this is often the one piece that websites, business websites, completely miss out on, because they think that it's okay just to have a nice looking website and that should be enough to really sell their products and their services to visitors to the website. And it is not, unfortunately. You've got to have some sort of strategy in place and behind it which leads people to this conversion. And normally conversion strategy is made up of a number of different factors, but often it comes down to your calls to action throughout the website. And when I say calls to action, I mean basically asking the visitor to your website to take a very specific action. So you've all been on websites where you'll see add to cart, check out now, get instant access, download now, enroll, start today, or start your free trial, or something like that. All of those instructions, and quite often they're made up of a nice bright button on a page to really stand out and pop out of the content. But all of those are what we call a call to action. So they're saying to the visitor to the website, look, you know what you need to know so far. So you've come into the website, you know we're professional, you know you've been able to find where you want to go on our website, you're hopefully engaged by the content on it, and now you want to take the last step. Well, take the next step. So it's working out a way to build a strategy around asking the visitor to your website for the conversion. And again, that conversion might be made up of any number of different factors. It could be that you're asking for a sale, you're asking them to buy a product or service there and then, you're asking them to subscribe into a membership website, you're asking them to subscribe to your email marketing list, or you're asking them just to contact you for a consultation. It could be made up any one of those factors and probably a whole host more. The second element of conversion is really the fulfillment mechanics. And what I mean by that is when somebody clicks that call to action button of get instant access, or purchase now, or check out now, add to cart, whatever it is, that there is a mechanism in behind that will fulfill the call to action. So if you are selling products online, the fulfillment mechanics could be looked after by your e-commerce platform on your website. So you may sell stuff directly from your website and use a cart system like ClickBank or PayPal, and they look after the mechanism for that. Or you may sell your products on Amazon.com, in which case the call to action button links over to your product page on Amazon. Or if you use fulfillment by Amazon, your button may actually work in the same way that a PayPal button or a ClickBank button would work, in that you can then capture the lead or the conversion, the sale on your website, but then it gets looked after by Amazon over on their website. The benefit of that, of course, is that you don't have to go to an external website. It literally all takes place on your website. So there is an inherent value in that type of mechanism. Similarly, if your fulfillment mechanics are to do with getting somebody to subscribe to your email marketing list, then you've got to have an email marketing tool. So you'll use a management system like MailChimp or Aweber or iContact, GetResponse, and so on. There's many options out there. But the fulfillment mechanics is there. So if somebody opts into your list on your website, the fulfillment of that is that your email gets shot over to MailChimp or one of those other platforms and gets added to the list database. And then you can start marketing to that list and so on. Similarly, if you want somebody to simply contact you for a consultation, the call to action or the call to action button has to link over somewhere where they can fulfill that. So they either it goes to a page with all your contact details and a contact form. It may go over to a questionnaire, which we have on our website. Any number of those different factors and different fulfillment mechanics, but it's got to have the fulfillment mechanic. Otherwise, when somebody clicks the call to action button, nothing's going to happen. You're not going to get the sale. You're not going to get contacted. You're not going to get somebody added to your email marketing list. So conversion is an inherently important part of online marketing and indeed of building an effective website, but most people miss it. So make sure that you guys don't. Okay? And then fifth on the list, which is kind of separate to the first four, but it is metrics. So it's the analysis and adaptation of your content, your website, your strategy, basically in response to the metrics that you're getting. And this, again, I don't know how many clients I get on board who I talk to and I say, okay, so do you have an analytics package? Are you using Google Analytics or some other stats package so that we've got something to work off as a baseline? We know where you are now and we know where we need to get you to when we redo your website or we redo your UX or UI design or strategy or whatever it might be. And most people don't. And it is really important that you guys monitor the traffic that's coming to your website, because without the metrics angle, really the other factors, the aesthetics, the functionality, the engagement, and the conversion are very hard to identify as to whether they're successful or quite the opposite. And a lot of businesses just do this thing blind. They just create a website and they think, oh, it looks good and it works all the way through. You know, people can buy off it. So that's probably all we need to do. And it's not. You've got to look at the stats. Who's coming to your website? What is your market like? Even down to what we call heat map statistics. So you actually generate a heat map of your website and you can see where people are clicking most. So for instance, if you had a website that was in your mind tailored or targeted to get the call to action button on the homepage clicked, and it's a big green button and it says get instant access, and you looked at your heat map tracking and you realized that nobody was clicking on that button, well, instantly you could tell that button A isn't working. So it's either the button text or the color, and should we change one of those up? So what that gives you is some sort of insight into what is not working on your website, which is all you need to know. So once you have that information, say it is for the call to action button, change the text and say start your free trial, change it maybe to an orange button, see how that works. And then if that's still getting no clicks, change it up again, maybe reshuffle the design of your landing area or your sales content or whatever it might be, because something isn't working within that content, the links aren't getting clicked on, and therefore the conversion strategy is not working. But that's where metrics come in. You see when people come to your website, how many people, where they're from, the age, sex, and so on. It can help you then analyze that data and adapt moving forward. You should always be trying to improve your content, improve your website moving forward to make it as efficient and effective as possible. And again, most people miss the metrics, okay? So do not be one of those people. Okay, so just in turn to kind of go through the different factors, the design aesthetics component. Evernote, just as an example, have a lovely website, looks really clean, vibrant, bright, and functional as well. But in terms of the aesthetic, what greets you when you come onto the website is really, really well laid out. Really nice graphics, nice flat design buttons, showing the benefits up there and this kind of imagery with the smiling girl and the different factors in behind that, all the different things that they want to sell you on. But the design of that site is very, very nice. Check it out and have a look. They always do a good job. But it's a nice looking website. There's no argument with that. It looks great. Okay, so next you have functionality. And if I could tell you one website that is the most functional website that I can think of, it's got to be Amazon.com. They sell millions and millions of products, and yet it's always really easy to find what you're looking for. And there's different ways that they do that, just to highlight what works and so on within this website. Down the left hand side, you'll see there are all the different categories. So you've got Kindle, books, audio, movies, electronics, home and garden. So you can navigate by clicking into one of those categories. But most often what I do is I go to the big search bar that's right up top, can't miss it, and I type in a search term, hit go, and almost always they come out with very, very specific results that are pretty much what I'm looking for. So Amazon, you should definitely check out Amazon if you want to see the most functional website you could possibly have. Now bear in mind that Amazon also use a lot of very up-to-date techniques like cookies, kind of tracking users' account history and so on. So what you'll find is, like on this page, down the right hand side, I get these little banner ads that pop up. There's one for Sony TV. This was a couple of years ago, but Amazon still do this and it works really well. I'm a definite sucker for this kind of stuff. But basically they throw out the ad of a TV because they know that I've searched Amazon previously for TVs and I've looked at different TVs. Okay, so the ad comes up there. Then you get their kind of main offers coming down. So Kindle's obviously quite often what they push right up in the middle of the page there. And then going down the page, you normally find on Amazon, if you're a member, you have an account, you'll get these recommended for you areas or treat yourself areas. So they know what you've looked at. Or what's on your wish list and so on, and they basically say, why don't you purchase this now? And it's very, very well laid out, very, very highly functional website, and because of the complexity of it, it's all the more impressive as to how they've gone about that. So have a look at that website as well for functionality. Brilliantly done. There's no better website I can think of that's more functional given the complexity of it. Okay, engagement then. Engagement is where somebody's come to the website, looks good, it's functional, they can find where they want to go, and now the content has to speak to the visitor. If you check out this website, it's for the Space Needle in Seattle. And basically, if you go onto their website, this diagram, it says scroll up and so on, but it scrolls up, kind of up the Space Needle, and you see more and more of the city. And then there's these little kind of crosses which designate different areas of interest. And if you hover over them, like I had done here, it pops up and tells you what it is. So Smith Tower, a little bit of history, and then you can click more and so on. But basically, it's a very engaging website because you have all this kind of height thing, and you travel up the Space Needle and you see all these different areas of Seattle, and you can click in. It's very engaging content. Now, I'm not saying you should do this with your website, but it just shows you the difference that high engagement means. That I would stay on that website much longer than a bland website of Seattle that just has a couple of images or something like that. So that can be a factor that you can use. But engagement really is also an important factor because it leads through to the next strategy, which is conversion. Now here is our website, just a slide off the homepage, but you'll see the way it's laid out, and there is a very specific conversion strategy in here. So there are actually a number of call to actions. There's login at the top right for members who can log in and get access to our training, or there's start your project now down at the bottom of the kind of text area on this slide. So it says reach your maximum audience, so that's kind of the title, a little bit of an explanation, and then start your project now. Now we could say there, we could look at that and say that's a little bit presumptuous. So what we'll do is we will use, which we do throughout the site in different areas, we'll use a call to action which says start a conversation, and that's a little bit more laid back and may get more conversions. But again, that is where the metrics thing comes in at the very end, because if we did that, we could see out of say 1,000 visitors how many people clicked that button when it said start your project now over a month period. And then if we changed it to start a conversation and maybe changed it to an orange button, how many people then clicked the button. And then we could adapt further and hopefully hone it and improve it and so on moving forward. But the stats or the metrics are the only real way to get that valuable insight into your conversion and how everything's working. Okay, so the metrics area of your website is really important, as I've said, to gather a baseline. Where you are now, where you want to go, how are you going to go there, how are you going to get more and more success with your website by using all different types of strategies to do with functionality and engagement and so on. So the best way to do that, if you look at your metrics, you can see how many people are visiting your site versus how many conversions. That's a very basic metric to look at, but it's an important one. But really the metrics give you a baseline of where you are right now and where you were maybe last year, and then where you go from there each month. So Google Analytics is normally the best one. Very, very detailed metric system. It spits out all sorts of different analytics based on your website, from monthly stats, geography of traffic, traffic sources, advertising performance, pages that work and don't work, user engagement, etc. So that's just a basic one I think everybody should have on their website. There are different tools as well, though, as I've said, like heat map tracking and so on, which can be very, very useful in kind of discerning what areas within your website are working and what areas aren't. Similarly, when you're running an ad campaign through, for instance, Google or Facebook, it's really important to pay attention to the ad metrics. Again, important for a baseline, how many people versus how many conversions, but it's also important for transparency and improvement. So you can actually see how much you're getting charged per click. So CPC is cost per click and CTR is click-through rate. So you can see that for every 1,000 people visiting your website, only one is clicking through, seeing your advert, only one is clicking through. So you may want to try and hone your advert to get a better click-through rate. Similarly, if you see your cost per click creeping up by monitoring the ad metrics, you can start to adapt your ad copy or your targeting or so on. For instance, give you an example of this. We run an ad campaign for a client. At the minute, we're almost finished a 6-month cycle of it. And at the start, our cost per click was around 48 cents per website click. And then suddenly, in June, actually, the cost per click skyrocketed to $2.36 or something like that. So immediately, because we were monitoring every single day, we saw this happen, pulled the advert so that the client wasn't getting charged whatever that is, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times what they were at the start. And what we did was we adapted the ad content to make it more relevant, which Facebook now kind of rates your advert on, your kind of relevance score. So we changed the copy and the image of the advert, and then we honed or refined our targeting more. So we changed our target audience from something like 40 million down to 8 million. And within a couple of days, we dropped the cost per click rate back down to around, well, actually at that stage, it was $1 a click within a couple of days instead of $2.36. But actually now that the advert has started to kind of gain pace and gain a little bit of a better relevancy score, we've actually got it down to only 30 cents per click, which is the best performance we've had from this run of adverts. So that just shows you the importance of ad metrics in really getting an idea of how successful your adverts are, and making sure that your return on investment via the cost per click metric is optimized. Okay, traffic generation strategies, super important. If you don't have a website, if you do have a website, but you don't have any traffic coming to the website, then all those things that you've put in place, the functionality, the engagement, the call to action strategy, and even the metrics, are completely wasted. People are not going to see your stuff because no traffic is coming to your website. So the first element of traffic generation is search engine optimization. Now, I don't know what the technical definition of it is, but this is the way I view it. Search engine optimization is the adaptation of your website coding, content, and registration with Google, Yahoo, Bing, and so on to be found organically or free by people searching relevant terms. And that's basically what it is. So you know the score. When you go into Google and search for something, the top results that come up are actually, in this case, the 100 free SEO tools and resources for every challenge. That's the first organic search engine result that Google will give us. The cream kind of area at the top with the 3 results, those are all adverts. And again, down the right hand side, all adverts. Now, search engine optimization is a tricky one because you'll see here the adverts come up top every time and down the right hand side, so they're more likely to get clicked through on, potentially. But the organic results are potentially more relevant because they are deemed by Google to be highly relevant to your search term. So we've searched best SEO tools, they've given us 100 free SEO tools. Okay, that just gives you an example. So the importance of SEO, as I've mentioned, if you can't get found, your website is going to be useless. It's not going to work for you. It drives organic or free, which is the best type, of traffic to your website, and it gives your businesses new leads. So when you've got your website sitting there and it's been optimized and it looks great and it's high conversion and so on, it gives your business new leads when people come onto it and go through the funnel, as I call it. So when people land on your website and then your website's functional, engaging, high converting, like takes people through a journey, a funnel, as we call it in the industry. It also maximizes exposure for your brand and your products, of course. But there are problems with SEO that you guys need to be aware of. First is that the rules keep changing. Google especially is notorious for changing up their algorithm without any notice and impacting millions of websites around the world who've maybe worked really hard to get their SEO up onto the top, first page or whatever, and suddenly they're hit with some sort of new algorithm rule which knocks them away out of it. For example, mobile is now the big issue for many. On April 21st, 2015, Google released their latest algorithm, and what that meant was mobile or websites which were not mobile optimized, i.e. could not be viewed or did not tick a lot of the boxes that Google have as their rules for mobile optimization, suddenly got kicked out of the rankings. So basically Google are recognizing that most people are now searching on mobile devices, so their phones, tablets and so on, and they're saying to us as website creators, they're saying, look, if you don't basically get with the program and make your websites mobile compatible, we're not going to recommend your website to our users who are searching for different things. So mobile, your site has to be mobile compatible. If you're not sure if your website is mobile compatible, go to Google and search for Google mobile friendly test, and it'll give you the test. You literally enter your website URL into a field, hit submit, and they'll run the test and spit out the results and tell you what's wrong with your website, if anything. Bear in mind as well, if you think your website is mobile optimized, because it may be responsive, it may move, with depending on whether you're viewing it on your phone or a tablet, it may not be optimized and it may not tick all the boxes that Google requires. So do the test anyway, just for peace of mind, if nothing else. The other problem with SEO is that it takes time to deliver results. There is no instant gratification anymore, and it will take potentially months, if not years, to really build your website SEO. If, for instance, it's a new launch website, it takes time to build trust with Google. It's very much like a credit rating. I always say to clients, it's kind of an easy way to understand it. You've got to build trust and respect with Google before they'll present your website to their users. So time is a factor, but of course, if you don't start today to build your SEO, then it will never build. And it is an important way to drive free traffic. It does, though, require that consistent effort and update of content, and you've also got to be aware of all the different changes that the search engines like Google submit. For instance, the big mobile one that came in April 2015. Okay, the next form of traffic generation strategy is online advertising. And these are really paid forms of direct traffic, placing highly targeted advertising in front of your target market and asking them to click through and come to your website. And again, that could be to get a sale, to capitalize on a current offer, to get an email subscription or whatever. Different types of online advertising, so you're aware. There are search ads, for instance, the ones we looked at in Google there a few slides ago. So when somebody goes into Google, they search for something and Google spits out a load of ads right up top and down the right hand side of their page. That's what a search ad is. And it works the same in Bing and Yahoo and other search engines. And then there are display and banner ads. So display and banner ads are really those types of ads like I showed you on the Amazon screenshot where I got an advert from Sony that popped up with a big TV on it. So that is a banner advert or a display network advert. That's the way it works. Facebook, LinkedIn, Google, YouTube, Pinterest, Instagram all do that type of advert. So you should be selective in your approach and which platforms you're using. But each of those platforms you use display and banner ads. Within Facebook, then, of course, you've got sidebar ads, which you'll see down the right-hand side here, highlighted in red. These are normally relevant to your search history or something that's of interest to you. You also get sponsored Facebook ads, where you can like a page or click through and buy a product externally. So Facebook use that as a mechanism. And now the benefits of Google and Facebook ads specifically are that they are very highly targeted. So down to age, sex, geography, friendships, family, income, interest, purchase history, all sorts of different things are available now. And the great thing is that Google and Facebook do all the hard work. They gather all the data on their users, and they allow you as an advertiser to access that data. So the more complex and more sophisticated their algorithms are, the better for us as advertisers, because we can define our target market very, very specifically in this day and age. Other good thing about Google and Facebook is easy management. It's a free tool. You only have to pay for your ads, and it's very well laid out. So it's very simple to work out how to create an ad within Facebook more so, but also Google. The great thing then about it is they also provide free statistics or metrics or analytics. So in Facebook and Google, like I discussed earlier, you can monitor the success of your advert, the cost per click, click-through rate, and so on. And the other great thing is that these platforms have basically harvested huge audiences around the world. So, billions of people in terms of an audience are now opened up to your business if you want to advertise with Facebook or Google. And the same goes for the other platforms that are now coming through, like Instagram, Pinterest, and so on. And the overall function of all of this, of course, is to drive traffic back to your website. Okay, number 4 on the list then, in terms of the pillars of online marketing, is email marketing. Now, email marketing is something a lot of people don't get involved in, but it is an essential component of any successful online marketing strategy. And the reason is it's free, it's targeted, or it's free up to a point, I should say. If you have an extensive email marketing list of, say, 10,000, 20,000, 100,000 people, you're going to have to pay a management fee to MailChimp or iContact or Aweber or Infusionsoft, basically to send out emails to that many people. But at the start, it's free and it's targeted as well. So you know that your audience is interested in your content because the people on that database are either past customers or people who are interested in the content on your website. And the way that you will capture those people is through something called squeeze pages or opt-in forms. So for instance, this is one we had done for a client. So you've got free for a limited time. It's basically a download the guide. Somebody clicks on the button, all being well, and they get the little opt-in form pop up. I'm sure you've seen these on websites. And then you enter your email and name, or maybe just your email, click download the blueprint, and then you get sent the blueprint. And once that happens, the person who's entered their email gets sent over, their email address gets sent over to a tool like MailChimp, where it allows easy management of a database of contacts. And then what you can do is you can start creating lists within your email marketing management tool like MailChimp. You can create different lists for people who may be interested in different products and segment your lists in that way. And then what you do is you start to create campaigns of maybe 1 to 5 to 10 different emails that you're going to send out in sequence to your subscribers of your list with effectively the core point of it, objective of it is really to build trust with your database of subscribers and then offer them deals. So 10% off for a limited time, 50% off, purchase today and get a free XYZ, things like that. So does email marketing work? I know a lot of clients who don't want to get involved with it because of time, which is of course a valid consideration for you. But does it work? Well, yes, it does work. And why do you think so many huge companies use it? Amazon, GoDaddy, Walmart, Starbucks, Nike, NFL. Pick any big company in the world, and you're bound to get an email marketing strategy with that company. So if you go onto their website, they will try to capture your email in some way. They might offer you a 10% discount. NFL did that recently. They may offer you some sort of perk. Amazon may give you X amount, maybe a voucher or something like that. GoDaddy might give you 50% off a domain or something like that. And then, is it for you specifically? Well, again, as I've said, only if you have the time or the funds to design and build a strategy, implement it, and make sure you follow through with it, measure it, and then update and improve it. And it's really important with anything in online marketing, internet marketing, that you only do it if you've got the time and the resources to follow through with it. If not, don't do it. Okay, last on the list then, social media. So as you probably all know, social media for business can be made up of all sorts of different platforms and profiles and pages, Facebook pages, Twitter accounts, YouTube, Pinterest, Instagram, and so on. Really, the benefits come down to the following. It offers you the opportunity for free or viral traffic generation for a website. It helps you increase your brand awareness, engagement, and loyalty. So people who see your updates consistently on Facebook and so on are more likely to be engaged and loyal to your brand. It also helps you engage with customers, sharing content, getting your content out to more and more people, because people who are loyal to your brand are likely to share or like or comment, and then their network of friends or followers gets to see that they've engaged with your brand. It opens up your content to many more people. Also offers you the opportunity to promote the latest offers to your followers and their connections, or just people in general that you've targeted using for instance, Facebook ads. It also then finally offers you the opportunity to capitalize on new forms of advertising. For instance, by using social proof. You saw on the Facebook advert, sponsored ad that comes up in the newsfeed often is accompanied by a little picture of a friend of yours who has liked that page. And you can target people that way using Facebook ads in that way. The big problems with social media, as I see them, are, again, similarly to email marketing, it's the time and effort or the cost it takes to really succeed at it. And bear in mind, the platforms might be free, so Facebook is free, you can have a page, Twitter's free, and so on, but it's never free as such, because you're always going to either have to put in a lot of time and effort, get your team to put in time and effort, or you're going to have to pay somebody to do it. Strategy is absolutely essential, and a lot of people just miss it out completely, but you've got to create a brand voice. So how is your brand going to speak to your visitors and your followers online? You've got to be consistent with that strategy, and you've got to target the right people. So if, for instance, your product that you're trying to sell online is a woman's perfume, who are you going to target? Well, you may want to target women, but you may also want to target men of a certain age who are going to be buying gifts for their wife or girlfriend or fiance and so on. Okay, so because of those issues, then it's not going to be for everybody. And the real problem I see is that people take on too much with social media. There's a real potential for too many balls in the air, and you can never succeed when you've got so many platforms on the go, unless you've got a huge team that you can dedicate to each of the individual platforms. So try not to make too many choices with social media. If you want to start out, look at your market, see what type of client it is. For instance, if your target market is predominantly female, then a good choice in this day and age would be Pinterest, because it's a predominantly female platform. It's a visual platform as well. If your products are visual, you could use Instagram. But again, the problem is you want to pick a handful. If you're just a single business person, or you've got a small team, you want to pick a handful of platforms that you know will work for your brand, and then really focus on them. So say, for instance, you are a fitness personal trainer and you're trying to sell online products. I would recommend you go for Facebook and Instagram. and try and get those working before you move on to other platforms like Twitter and so on. Okay, so there is that potential to distract some businesses from more important endeavors like getting sales. So that's us done. Thank you for your time. Hopefully that was of help. As I said at the start, the 5 pillars, as I classify them, are really important, and they're very useful tools and mechanisms and strategies to put in place to build a successful online marketing campaign. The only one I classify as absolutely essential is number 1 on the list, because without it, none of the others make sense. There's no reason to have any of the others. So you've got to have that attractive, functional, engaging, and converting website. And of course, you've got to measure the successes and failures of that. Then, if you want to generate some traffic, you use the following 4 strategies. So search engine optimization is you get your free traffic by doing that. Online advertising, you get your products and services and your website out to as many people as possible, but of course you have to pay for that. Email marketing, you capture an interested database of prospects or prior customers, and you create campaigns and market to that database. And then social media, so you converse with your existing customers, your prospects, and people who think and act like those prospects. So you can use all of those, or you can perhaps pick number 1, 3, and 4, or 1, 2, and 5, whatever may work for you. You're probably going to get the best results if you utilize all of them, but you've got to bear in mind the balance between time and efficiency and results. For instance, if you are in a certain type of business, perhaps email marketing will not be that relevant, or it'll be difficult to find content which is going to engage with your database of subscribers to your list. Okay, so you've just got to tailor it for you, but absolutely get number 1 nailed, and then start to think about which of the following 4 are going to be most useful for you. Okay guys, look, thank you for your time. Hope this was of help. If you need any more help, go to our website, zenithonline.marketing. There's more training, more free advice on there you can make use of. I hope to see you over there. Make sure you're commenting on the blogs, asking questions. I'll help you out wherever I can. And in the meantime, again, thank you for your time. Hopefully it was of help. I'll see you in the next video.